was overthinking. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out.
Visual snow syndrome is an uncommon neurological condition which the primary symptom is that affected individuals see persistent flickering white, black, transparent, or colored dots across the whole visual field. Besides experiencing various visual disturbances, I also have to deal with painful, agonizing headaches that usually do not have a pattern. Visual snow syndrome is not an easy disorder to have. I can always remember when it started. I knew my vision wasn't the best, but I never experienced anything like this before. It all started around the 9th grade. Around the time it was past January and into late February. I was currently in photography class, and one of the following requirements was to take nature pictures. Back then, I was knee-deep into making sure my pictures were high quality. Due to my carelessness, I was not too mindful in dressing warm, since I was really going out near the front door and nowhere else. It was chilly, not like your typical cold, but to the point where I slightly could see my breath. I honestly did not mind since I was only taking a picture. However, my carelessness of spending those few days outside in the cold will make me regret it later on. You might say,
But you were only outside for a couple of minutes. Surely you wouldn't have gotten easily sick at that time.
maybe, just maybe, but it doesn't justify the fact that I was outside in the cold, not taking care of God's temple. After going back inside, I noticed that I wasn't sick. After all, I thought, hey, I didn't go outside for that long, so it's a win-win for me, right? Nope, I was wrong. I did not know that my cough would start to erupt around the month of April, but why was that? When the seasons change, our bodies try to adjust to the extremities outside, which is also called homeostasis. I could be wrong, but maybe that is why my symptoms started to erupt around a different month. As some time passed, that is when symptoms started to show. In the month of March, I had a really bad cough. It was a dry cough. No mucus or phlegm was coming out of my body whatsoever. My parents believed it was just allergies and provided me over-the-counter allergy medication. However, the cough lasted much longer than my parents and I had originally anticipated. No matter how long I tried, I kept coughing and coughing, over and over again. We went to our pediatrician, and she said that nothing was wrong. The doctor said I probably just needed some over-the-counter medication and plenty of rest. The doctor also gave some prescribed medication, but it didn't work. So off we went, going to a more advanced doctor. He did notice that my throat was red and swollen. Because of this, the doctor prescribed me more medication. We usually go to a pharmacy in order to get the medication that we received from the doctor. After going to the pharmacy, we went home to see if the medication would work. I had to take the medication twice a day, so I took one when I woke up, and then I took one before I went to sleep. Surprisingly, the medication helped for a short span of time, specifically for 3.5 days. The first day, I had no coughs at all, so I was able to pay attention during class without having to cough. The second day was also good. I didn't feel the need to cough for anything. I probably coughed once or twice, but it was still good in general. But by the third day, around the afternoon time, I felt strange. My chest kept tightening and then releasing itself, then tightening and releasing itself.
What does that mean?
You might ask. Yep, I started coughing once again. I don't even know where I went wrong. My parents got the medication. We had the asthma thingy you use to breathe in to relieve any coughs that come out from your lungs. I think my brain that day probably said,
Hey lungs, it's a great day to take a day off.
and my lungs probably said, all right brain, sorry, it looks like you're on your own. We would love to try to help you, but it's not too late to take this day off and probably take a long week vacation. Have a great day of dealing this cough. We'll see you later, www.lung.com. All jokes aside, the cough came back even worse. It was getting so bad to the point where I was losing energy since I would use all my energy to cough up something that wasn't even there. It was quite strange. And when we updated the doctor about this, he was quite shocked since the medication was supposed to work for coughs in the first place. When it seemed like all hope was lost, my mom booked a doctor's appointment up north in our state. We'll name him Dr. A. He was quite a professional as my dad provided the symptoms of what I had. After a sharp pause, he decided to check my nose, throat, and ears. Through the process, the septum of my nose was uneven. This was because I busted it by jumping on my bed during my childhood. It didn't cause a physical problem, rather an internal problem when it came to getting sick. Skipping towards a couple days later, we went to the pharmacy to get the Z pack that Dr. A provided. The medication pack was set up like this. For the first day, you take 6 pills, 2 before breakfast, 2 for lunch, and 2 before bedtime. Then the next day you take 5, then 4, and so on and so forth. We were unsure if this medication would work, but we decided to try it anyway. After going home, my parents helped me provide the medication. I would take the medication during the day, and I would also take it before I went to bed. And this entire process repeated for 7 days straight. And as an average person, you would think that this medication would work since it had so many steroids, but it actually did the complete opposite. This medication apparently did not want me to sleep in the night hours. My body was not producing the melatonin that it needs in order for the body to sleep. Which, when you sleep, the body repairs itself as you sleep. So, when you don't sleep and get the adequate rest that you need, that means your body does not have time to repair itself. And it affects the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. As a result, I stayed up for 4 days straight, with only getting 1 hour of sleep. At least during this time, my mom allowed me to watch my favorite movies and also my favorite TV shows. But it did not justify the fact that my body was craving to plop in my soft bed and say, finally. I can finally rest my body and brain after such a long day. But since the steroids were being taken, my brain was saying,
You have been promoted. You have been promoted to my elite employees.
You were not sleeping for 4 days straight. And also, there's a bonus to this. You get to see lovely hallucinations as you continue to stay up for 4 days.
Staying up for 4 days was not a great experience. However, one day was different, a day I'll never forget. I remember I was in class, staring at something, but I wasn't really staring at anything in particular, since nothing really caught my attention. Should I have been paying attention to what my teachers were saying? Sure. Did I want to pay attention to what they were saying? Not really. I was in deep thought about something, but I wasn't sure what. I then looked at the ceiling and something strange happened. I started to see white lines. I wasn't sure what to think of it, but I knew it wasn't normal, especially since they kept going faster and faster and kept going in the same pattern. So what did you think I did? Did I scream my lungs out on the rooftops? Did I possibly rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus while spraying holy water around my room? Or did I just possibly cry my lungs out while I was trying to make myself feel better? If you think you know the answer, comment down below in the comments. I actually didn't do any of that. I simply waltzed out my room and waltzed into my parents' room and said, "Oh, hey Mom and Dad, I just had a hallucination of white lines. Nothing serious though, but that's what happened, so yeah." My mom didn't look too surprised since she stayed up with me during those 4 days, and she said that she would schedule an appointment as soon as possible. But those were just the birth pains of my hallucinations. 1 episode would turn into 2, 2 episodes would turn into 4, and 4 turns into more. On Saturday, May 13th, 2023, another episode happened. It was way worse, and it was considered the Sabbath day during this time. I was seeing flashing lights, white circles, black dots, blue swirls, and little flickering dots, specifically called the blue effect phenomenon. Due to this, I always felt the need to stay in the dark. I was currently experiencing at that time photophobia and heliophobia, which are the needs to avert my eyes away from bright lights or the sun. During that time, I started to cry. Why was this happening? I thought to myself. Why do I have to endure this terrible thing in my life? I felt so afraid, even though God said He would never leave us nor forsake us. I already knew that, didn't I? After a couple weeks passed, we met with 2 doctors. The first doctor was named Dr. Pa. He did a regular checkup with my eyes to see if they were healthy. Like any ophthalmologist, he checked both my eyes and then used the famous patch to check each eye. Dr. Pa seemed confused about what I was dealing with, so I handed in my drawings as requested. After checking my drawings for a couple of minutes, he did another checkup with my eyes. After doing so, Dr. Pa said this:
There's nothing wrong with her eyes physically, rather this problem is neurological. You would need to see a neuro-ophthalmologist. I would recommend Dr. W for this, since she specializes in neuro-ophthalmology.
1 week later.
So we went to Dr. W a week later, per Dr. Pa's recommendation. And of course we went over the symptoms, what I was going through and how long it lasted, blah 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 blah. I was really waiting for that MRI scan so I can see what was going on. Or should I say we. Luckily Dr. W cut the conversation short and we finally agreed to do the MRI. I've heard of MRI, so I wasn't confused when she mentioned it. Of course, the nurse gave the classic speech that you cannot have any metals of some sort in the MRI since the MRI is like a magnet and you don't want anything to happen. Which of course I understood since I don't want any emergencies either. So I put on my hospital gown, recited some words of affirmation along with some scriptures, and waltzed my way right into the MRI room. I thought that the MRIs would last like an hour long, but surprisingly, it lasted for 30 minutes. After the MRI scan, I came back and Dr. Weiner just said,
"Well, kiddo, there's nothing going on in your brain, so you have visual snow. It's a rare neurological condition, and it's common amongst teens. I have 7 patients come in here with visual snow."
After hearing my diagnosis, we were both a bit shocked. We were finally able to figure out what it was, but it sounded so simple than we realized. After Dr. W finished, my dad said thank you so much, and we went our separate ways. So that is my story. I, JustZiiss, a Toca tuber and a teenager, has visual snow syndrome. Do not let anyone tell you that you are faking it or that you're just imagining it, because you cannot imagine visual snow nor fake it in any way. And if you have visual snow and someone tells you that you're faking it, especially a doctor that is prescribed to help people with visual snow or any type of eye problem or any problem in general that you're just faking it or imagining it, is not a real person that wants to consider your feelings and put your health into care. No matter what burdens or whatever you're going through mentally, psychologically, emotionally, or physically, you matter and everything about you matters. God loves you, and just like Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for us. No matter what you're going through, whether big or small, Jesus cares about you. Because God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, for that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. For he did not come into the world to condemn the world, rather he came into the world to save it. For it is not the healthy that need the doctor, rather the sick. So this may seem like the end, but it's not the end of the JustZiiss squad. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, share this video with others, and subscribe, because only 16.6 of you are actually subscribed, so make sure to smash the subscribe button and click that notification bell so you can know when I post. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Remember, you guys can do all things through Christ that gives you strength. That is Philippians 4:13. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!